Hello, Lou Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are located on Montgomery Road, a couple doors north of the Montgomery Inn. We have a website, audibleelegance.com. Please do enjoy the articles as well as the announcements from manufacturers we have under the specials area. We have a new and used section, and we got a lot of used gear coming in. One of the common questions we get in equipment is whether it has balanced outputs or balanced inputs. And the theoretical advantage of balanced as opposed to single-ended is its ability to be better at noise levels, quieter in a sense, which is why they're used in a lot of recording studios. And I want to stop for a moment and have you start thinking, because we have some manufacturers like Riga that are single-ended only. And of course, a lot of the audio cables, single-ended cables themselves are shielded for dealing with noise. But I want to go back over to the balanced area because there's a lot of half steps, is the only way of describing it. And rather than focusing on the half steps, I'm going to talk about a specific manufacturer that we used to represent. The owner is an incredibly fine gentleman, and that's Jeff Rowland. And Jeff Rowland often laughed at a lot of these companies, and some of them extremely well known, who had balanced plugs on their product, because Jeff Rowland was designing his products so that the balanced configuration went through the entire product. There wasn't any half steps. The whole system itself was balanced in topography. And it's one of the reasons that his product is extraordinary. Unfortunately, we can't afford to sell it anymore. I mean, it is extraordinarily expensive. But it is fine product nonetheless, and he's following through with that type of approach. And there were a number of manufacturers, and some that even today, while they have balanced inputs and outputs, once they get clear of the socket itself, a lot of the circuitry is actually single-ended, particularly through the volume control pot. So part of the advantage of essentially balanced is a little bit frustrated because it's not balanced all the way through. Now, it's not to say that the balanced cables fail to provide better noise flow, and that's not true. But don't assume that merely because it has balanced plugs that the circuit design is balanced all the way through. That's simply not true. And I wanted to address that because I run into that, and people get hung up on the type of plugs on a unit as to what the unit itself does. A poorly designed, if Jeff Rowland were to make a poorly designed product that was balanced all the way through and it sounded like crap, the fact that it's balanced does not give it merit. No, Jeff doesn't do that, but the point being is you've got to look at what the product does and how it performs for the money that's being asked for it. And whether it has balanced plugs on it or not isn't necessarily material at all to the results you're going to hear. And I'd be real careful about that because there are some very, very fine products that do not use balanced connectors. So I just kind of want you to think about that when you're looking at a product, and the magic question is, how is this thing really built? Number one, and does it fulfill its promise? And then how does it sound? Judge it on its merits, as opposed to what plug it has. Because in some cases, the only difference between single-ended and balanced in some of these products is whether faceplate had, black knobs on it or silver. There really is no difference. So be careful about that. I wanted to address that issue. I see it on the ground. I'm in the trenches with the product day to day. So, and I'm sure that there are other products other than Jeff that are, truly balanced all the way through. Kudos. They're not cheap. But if you see something for $3.99 with balanced plugs, I'm not so sure about this, Mr. Wizard. So be careful, but always listen to the product. And there you are.